What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CU4 YouTube channel for the Emirates FA Cup first round proper 5-minute preview. It is Reading versus Carlisle United in what was once a League One fixture. It is now the first round of the FA Cup as Carlisle take the trip down to, well, just outside of London in Reading at the weekend to hopefully continue their FA Cup run, which it's funny because, of course, we've already played a game in the FA Cup being in the National League, of course, beating Boston a few weeks ago. Reading, this will be their first game of the season in the FA Cup. They'll be looking for a decent run. And let's meet the opposition in Reading. The Royals just got their new manager, Liam Richardson, through the door literally last night, and they were founded in 1871. They play their football at the McGrath Stadium or the Select Carlisle Stadium for sponsorship purposes, which holds 24,161. And from Brunton Park down to the McGrath, it would take you around 618 miles, 10 hours and 31 minutes as a round trip in the car, so safe travels to any Blues making the trip down there. Reading not actually in a bad run of form considering they've just sacked their manager. Of course, 19th in League One is not where they would like to be, but not a bad run of form in their previous 5 games. A 1-1 draw against Doncaster, a 1-0 win against Northampton, a 2-1 defeat against Cardiff, a 1-1 draw against Exeter and a 1-0 home win against MK Dons. Carlisle, of course, in the National League, 2 divisions lower, but sitting third with a 1-1 against Yeovil, a 4-2 against Forest Green, a 5-2 against Boston in the FA Cup, the 1-0 away win against Scunthorpe United, and then that 3-1 battering of the Monkey Hangers at Brunton Park. Not a bad run of form though. Last time they met, it was 2 very contrasting runs of form, wasn't it? There was all the talk that Reading were potentially going to go out of business, but then they absolutely hammered us on 2 occasions. A 5-1 down at the Medeski, and then the last time we met, the 2nd of March 2024, it was a 3-1 victory for Reading at Brunton Park. A very comfortable 3-1 victory for Reading. Reading, though, have signed Matt Ritchie earlier on this year, the 36-year-old, bringing plenty of experience to the Reading ranks. I think it's a really good signing and definitely a one to watch if he was to start at the weekend. And a man who I've got in net for Carlisle at the weekend, it is Harry Lewis. I think when he was given the chance against Boston, he looked good. We know he's a good keeper, just struggling with that confidence factor. And of course, Gabe Breezes came in and took his start and place. But for this week, I changed things up a little bit. I went with a 4-2-3-1. Sort of a mix between first team and bench players. I wouldn't start a full first team 11, to be honest. Obviously, we do play Halifax at Brunton Park on Tuesday night. But I've started Harry Lewis in goal with Morgan Feeney now and Hayden at the back. Josh Williams going back into right back with Sam Murray on the left. Callum Whelan and Jack Ellis as centre defensive midfielders. I've then got John Jones as the left attacking midfielder. Stephen Werner as a right attacking midfielder. Harvey McAdam through the middle. And then Luke Armstrong playing up front as a lone striker. I think that would be a decent option to start with. I think it integrates, as I say, the sort of fringe players with the first team players. I would like to see the likes of Jones start and McAdam being an opportunity. Of course, Stephen Wern hasn't played in a few weeks, but then I'm keeping the stability of Feeney and Hayden at the back. Maybe a bit of a random one to put Williams back at right back when he's been playing as a right wing, but I'll let you decide on that. I'm not going to read all of them out because I simply won't have time in a 5-minute preview, but I have went for a 1-0 victory for Carlisle. I think that with the new manager coming in, it might just be a bit of a shock for Reading. Of course, they could get their manager bounce and absolutely hammer Carlisle, but I think Carlisle are in a good run of form. Confidence is high. Why not predict a 1-0 win for Carlisle? Other results in there that you might find maybe a bit of a shock. I went with South Shields to beat Shrewsbury 2-0. I went with a 7-0 for Port Vale there, which might be a bit wild. And then is there maybe a couple of other shock results in there potentially that you can see? Gainsborough Trinity will be a great home game for them against Accrington. I have went with a 1-0 for Accrington. There is a few lower league sides in there, and of course it would be great for some of them to have a good run in the cup. But it's the magic of the cup, isn't it? Who knows what's going to happen? But I have went with a 1-0 for Carlisle. I'm even giving small teams like Barrow wins against Spennymoor there. So they are my predictions. But as I say, I can't read every single one of them because there's 40 games there. But what are your predictions for Carlisle? Let me know in the comments down below. The Halifax 5-minute preview will be coming out over the weekend. Thank you for watching this video. I've been See You All Fun. I'll see you in the next one.